Hello, friends. How are you guys? Happy Monday. Hopefully, you enjoyed your weekend. Maybe a few of you guys even got out and made some memories. I know we were driving by a pumpkin patch, and I was like, we got to put that on the calendar. Actually,
Almost flipped a U-turn right there.
yeah, we did. And they had a huge sign that said cider, apple cider, and I was like, Dave. But we had other plans for the weekend, but almost just forgot it all.
All right,
And
drop of the
just
hat.
dropped it all.
When fall comes calling.
Yes, when fall comes calling. That is exactly right. And I feel it. It's in the air. And I hope it stays in the air. We were talking about that because yesterday and the day before, the weather was kind of like
Very fallish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's actually not too terrible out today.
So we'll see if it sticks around. How is it in your neck of the woods? Let us know in the comments. Let us know that you're joining us. If you're catching the replay, we hope that you also say hi. Okay. All right. So we're so excited. I mean, October is already in motion. Literally, I look at the calendar. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going to be over before we know it. So I think that's why I'm like, oh, I gotta get these things on the calendar because I enjoy them so much. They bring us joy, right? Going out and enjoying the season, but also scrapbooking the season. I actually have to try really, really hard to stay away from the stores during this time of year. It's so true. I know I say it often, but it's like the candles, the food, the colors, the clothes,
the sweaters,
everything. It all tempts me. Now, even scrapbooking paper, the amount of fall paper I have is kind of ridiculous. So here's what we're going to do. So for this month, October, so if you're new here at Kiwi Lane, or maybe you're just kind of joining us for this few episodes, this rhythm that we do here at Kiwi Lane, this event today is basically we're going to pick with purpose, and we're going to go through the paper picking method that we share here at Kiwi Lane for over 15 years that have really helped to utilize our paper stash and also to propel us forward and give us momentum so that when we sit down to scrapbook, we have our necessities, right? Paper and pictures and things like that you absolutely need. So this one is the one of 3 episodes, I guess you could say. We do try to keep them connected. The next one we'll do designing, and then I'm just going to focus on the featured sets when we design because it helps take away decision fatigue. And we have some great featured sets this month. So if you haven't had a chance to check those out, those are really fun. We have Creepy Crescents, Tiny Plants, and Abbey Road. So we'll design with those next time. And then we'll actually get to the flow where we finish something. But there are just so many fun ways that you can use these sets. Creepy Crescents alone. So, of course, fall's on my mind. I went ahead and I picked some fall paper out of my stash. But with that said, we are going to be talking about paper today. But I do want to throw this out there that if you don't have the Creepy Crescent sketchbook, we're going to put it in the chat along with our paper picking guide, which I'll get to here in a moment. But the Creepy Crescents guidebook, guys, I pulled this up again and I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's so many fun ideas there. But again, I'm a sucker for the fall. So if you're a sucker for the fall too, I'm telling you, you're going to love it because Creepy Crescents, although it's called creepy, clearly it's way more than that. It's for all those fall seasons. Actually, one of my favorites is that tree one. It's going a little fast on that. Sorry, guys. It's like some reason sped it up. But just so exciting. Everything's so exciting. It's just too fast. No, but that sketchbook, I went ahead and right before, I was like, you know what? I love this sketchbook so much. It's probably one of my favorites. I am so inspired when I was looking through this once again in a whole new light. $5 off. So just so you know, for you guys live for the next 24 hours, I'm putting that sketchbook $5 off. All right. So let's talk about paper. So once again, we have this guide that walks you through our paper picking formula. And I'm going to break that down. We're going to use some real examples here from our paper stash, actually talking about paper stash. So over the last 2 decades, guys, we're talking almost 20 years here at Kiwi Lane. Now, Kiwi Lane's only been around for 16 years, but I started using the play to create process before that. And then scrapbookers started to ask questions. The first question I always got was, how are you creating your pages? Which is where the designer templates and the play to create process comes in. But the second question that everybody always asked too was, how are you picking your paper? And so it took some time to kind of analyze what's best for, the right assortment of patterns with what patterns on your pages. And so that's why I like to go over this step, because initially, I just was trying to use paper stash. And let's just face it, like a lot of us have a lot of paper stash. I have dwindled mine down quite a bit. It did take some time, but it was only possible because of this guide, this formula that we share with you. Once we locked that in ourselves and was able to start sharing that with other scrapbookers, boy, did it take away decision fatigue, take away overwhelm. And it also started to help us use that paper stash. And that's so satisfying. So besides trying to help scrapbookers simplify their scrapbooking in a way that still allows you to have beautiful pages, but also deeply meaningful in the flow of the creative process, that's a huge goal of ours here at Kiwi Lane. But the second goal, I would say, is also to help scrapbookers use their paper stash. So this is all the paper that I have. Some of you guys might be like, what in the world? I actually keep my paper in these bins that you see. I've gone through many options when it comes to paper. I have not really showcased this, I don't think. So these first top four, so I keep my paper kits over here in these ones. This one is like my pastels. I keep them like kind of theme, I guess you can say, but really I go more off of color palettes. But color palettes in my mind are related to themes. So like if I have pastels, usually it's like babies or girly, more the pinks and stuff like that. And so I always know, like, if I'm looking for something along that lines and I have certain colors in mind, then I usually thumb through that. I'm not saying this is perfect, but I'm just telling you my thought process, okay, guys? And honestly, it's been this way for a good, 5 or so years, and it's been working. This middle one here is actually more of my primary colors. So more playful colors, which again, usually associate with themes. Kits are related to that. A lot of back to school type kits, because those are usually done in those colors. And so that's kind of how I sort mine. I don't really have my school ones here and then this here. I think of them more, like I said, more color palettes and then themes, because I associate it that way. So that's how my brain works. And when it comes to organization, okay, I'm trying to get to something here. Okay, guys. So this one over here is, I think this one is my travels, and yeah, this is more like travel palettes, like more, outdoor. So outdoor and travel. So more of that earth tones, things like that. Okay, this one here, this is my holidays. Okay. This much is about, I guess you could say seasonal, because I treat it that way. This much is about my Christmas, like winter type thing, and the rest is all fall. So I have a fall paper problem. Like all I'm saying, that's what my whole point of sharing that. Now, down at the bottom, I have some solid cardstocks and some blenders. I keep all of that in here that aren't associated with already pre-kitted items. And I do have pre-kitted ones inside of each of these. I'm not going to do that. We could do that in another video. I can actually open these up and show you. I have these also plastic bins. I'd have to pull it out that I keep those in, but they are already done based off of this formula I'm going to share with you, which is going to be so nice because I have 2 crops coming up this weekend. And yeah, I do have to gather some photos for getting my photos together to go along my go-to photo kits with my go-to layout kit or paper kits that will make my go-to layout kits that I could just grab and go. But it will simplify it so much. So I love it. It's so helpful, especially on a busy schedule. This one down here is like miscellaneous. Haven't really sorted them out. This one's really Mosh Podge. So I do have some that are just not organized because I'm like, I'll throw it in there. I'll get to it in a minute. The other 2 are just empty well, not empty, but they have other tools in them. So technically that's all I have. when it comes to paper. I have those top 4 and the bottom 2, but one of them pretty much is just fall paper. So I thought what we would do is, of course, with the featured sets being Creepy Crescents and Abbey Road and Tiny Plants, that we would do some fall pages. And that's what I love about Creepy Crescents, is that it doesn't matter what type of event in the fall, like, it works. Yes, Halloween or more of the creepy ones, but those fall pages, I had so much fun with them. So much fun. Like I said, just really cute. Yeah, really cute ones. Love them. All right, so let's jump into our paper picking formula. All right. Gwen says, oh, I just saw your thing, Gwen. Let me answer it really quickly. Those are shipping out. They're going out, guys. Yay. Last week was a little bit of a beast. I'm not going to lie. So I'm looking forward to, but they started to ship them out. Some of you guys might have already gotten your notices. But today, I believe, yeah, they're shipping more out, and then tomorrow. Well, the post office aren't open today, but tomorrow. Okay. So a good amount are already gone out. Hopefully a lot of you guys on Friday and Thursday got your notices, but we're wrapping it up tomorrow. All right. So yay. Yay. I'm so excited. Jody says fall is my favorite. I have tons of fall paper. Okay. Well, let me tell you, even though I do enjoy scrapbooking a fall page outside of fall, I will say when it's in the air, all I want to do.
It's the perfect storm.
Yeah, it is the perfect storm.
Be fully yourself.
Yeah, and just love them. But listen, I've scrapbooked a lot of my fall pictures too. I want to go take new pictures. I want to go get new memories. So whatever we create this month, I'm going to do as a giveaway. So stick around. Again, we're talking about paper today. We're going to go over the design process in an upcoming event this month. It's in the community. Go RSVP it. And then the third one of this series is the actual taking our paper choices, our design choices, and completing the page. And let me tell you, breaking it up in this way is so beneficial in and of itself as well, because it really takes the mindset of feeling like you have to have like 2 or 3 hours carved out of your calendar in order to enjoy this hobby and the joy that comes from it. But really, you can take it in small increments and do that. So that's kind of part of this 3 series goal as well, is to really showcase that's possible. Ruby says FedEx delivered mine this morning. Yay! That makes me so happy, Ruby. Yay, good. She said usually come in the mail. Yes, we are shifting a few things around, trying to get them a little bit different, which was part of the setup with this new facility. But I get you. Either way, I'm just happy you got it. Okay. All right, let's jump down, do an overhead. Let's look at some yummy fall paper. So I did pull this out of my one of my little fall kits that I had already pre-selected out. And I wanted to talk about this formula again. So, and specifically the last one, the extra sheet. How to go about maybe picking that extra sheet. All right. So let's break this formula down again. So it's a 3, 2, 1. Okay. We usually always recommend, it's not even usually, I always recommend you start with a sense of a main pattern. Look, I already cut some out of it, but there's plenty here. So I pulled this out of my stash. A main pattern is something that's more themey. It's more graphic-y most of the time, or it's just more colorful, depending on that approach. And this main theme here is going to help you select your other ones, right? So when we talk about 3, 2, 1, which is another way to look at the paper picking formula that we hope has helped simplify it, because we love simplifying where we can here at Kiwi Lane. The 3 stands for 3 pattern papers, starting with the first one, which is 1 main pattern, and then 2 more supportings, which would make up your 3 patterns. Okay. So I already did that. All right. I went in and I picked some supportings. Our supportings are more geometric usually. They're more subtle. They're not as themey. You really need these type of patterns to complement, AKA support, that main pattern. You don't want these to have also a lot of busyness going on symbolically or themey, because then they'll compete. And so that's why we share this formula that, like, hey, start with an eye-catching one, something that you're like, I love the sheet. That's like my pattern that I absolutely love. Let that be your spotlight, your main page, and go from there. Okay. Now, this makes up our 3. So let's go to 2. So then from 2, we pick 2 backgrounds. If you're doing a 2-page layout, that's where that comes into the formula. And like I said, I already picked those out, and I actually pulled this from another kit, but I'm glad that they look really good. So you kind of lay that in the background. If you are just joining this episode, every episode we do a focus a little bit different, but the same formula is being applied that we put into the chat, and we'll put it in again, this free guide. Last time we talked about leftover kits and how to make this leftover kits out of the same formula. The time before that, we talked about background sheets and why they matter. The time before that, we've talked about, right? So go check out those replays, because every time we talk about a different focus. This time, I want to talk about that 1. And the 1 represents the extra sheet, the one that maybe you just need because you don't have a full rounded of all the colors you need to represent. So we have the 3, 2, 1. Now, here's the thing. When we talk about the 1, the colors do match my shirt, Denise. Yes. I told you, it's in the air. So when we talk about that 1, it really could be where you're like humming and hawing between a pattern and you're like, oh, I'll just throw this one in. But often what you want to look at is, again, let this main pattern be your North Star. Let it be your guide, so to speak. We're going to layer these on top of the supporting. That's going to guide our supporting decisions. Then we layer those on top of our background. That's going to be our deciding, help us decide it. When it comes down to that 1 extra sheet that we recommend to make up that 6-page layout, or not, sorry, layouts, but 6 pages to help you have a well-rounded selection to, yes, minimize it so you're not digging through your whole paper stash all at once, but also to give you a balance. Listen, this is why I take this page kit, paper kit, to a leftover kit to another, because even with 5 to 6 sheets of paper, you're going to have plenty left over to even take it to that next phase, which is what we talked about last month in this episode. But this 1 pager, not 1 pager. Okay, guys, we have so many terms in scrapbooking that I'm like, wait, I can't say that. That would mean something else. This 1 page that represents the 1 in the formula. The way I go about doing that is, again, I let this main pattern kind of help be my guide. And you start to look at the colors inside of this pattern. What is being represented, right? And what do I not have? So again, these supportings are kind of a nice complementary, right? They're usually 2 tones or 3 tones. They don't include necessarily all the colors, but they do have a well round. And this all came from the kit, so I got lucky there. Okay, guys, that was the case. Now I'm going to flip these over because we do want to consider what the colors are on the back if you're using double-sided. Well, I have a lot of warm earth tones, right? So right away, if I'm looking at this color palette, I can say, oh, you know what? I need like this orange. Like I don't have any of this orange option. So I need something there. That can be help you select that 1 extra sheet to finish up this paper kit selection. Okay. This darker blue could be an option, and you could do like a little bit more cream, but I do have cream here. And so right away, I know that I'm going to want that orange. So if that helps to take, again, this main pattern to help it be your North Star in each of those selections, whether it's from the supporting to the background to that 1 extra sheet. So I pulled in this, and that's kind of what guided those decisions. They're kind of like, I don't want to say rules, but in a lot of ways, that's what guidelines are, right? Guidelines give you a framework to work inside of to help give you focus, direction, and intentional in how you make your choices. And so letting that main pattern help you in each stage to help you select those patterns. Now, you could go the other way and listen, when I start creating this, which we're going to do in episode 3 of this, these series of events that we have throughout a given month, I may choose to go look for some blue or something. And if you have it close by, then you may choose to throw that in anyways with this paper kit. Because like what I like to do is I take these selections and then I put them in a little paper kit. If you have a
Page protector, man.
a page protector, if you have any of the extra 12 by 12s. Did I use all mine up already? Oh, I did. I've been making a few lately, guys. I've been making a few. Oh, well, yeah. So I have these other bags too. Here, I actually had this because I was putting some kits together. These are just 12 by 12 bags too. Those work too. These, well, I guess it's more like 13 by 13. So then I'll take these and I'll put them in here. Like I said, if there's other elements that you want to use at this phase, then go ahead. But it's not that you're limiting yourself, because when you start actually getting to that final step, so we're doing some intentional prep, we're going to get to our designing phase, and then we're going to get to the trace cut, basically the creative flow state, okay, where we take the creative process and we bring it back to a full circle. And we actually transform these papers into a layout. That's going to be the third episode in this these series. And we do this every month. So stick around in October. We're going to take these selections and move them forward. Where was I going with that? I was saying, if you have extra, you can add them into the kit. But also in that third step, you can also say, I need a little bit of this or a little bit of this. But you're letting the creative flow actually at that step really energize you. And so that's a huge impact. Instead of right now at this very moment being like, I have to figure it all out. What if I want this or this or this? You don't need to do that yet. Okay. All right. So hopefully that's helpful. And unless, again, like, you want something, like if I was like, okay, let me look at this. You know what would be cute with this right away? I'm going to go for it.
Charlene is asking, how do I order the kit this month? I'm thinking she means the Kiwi Club kit.
The featured sets or the Kiwi Club? Are you part of the Kiwi Club?
Featured set or the Kiwi Club?
Either way, you can do it online. So the featured set.
I'll go ahead and put the link to the Kiwi Club in case you don't have that.
Look at this. I was thinking some specialty paper. So I always sometimes go through my mind and say like, do I want any specialty paper with this? Burlap, naturally. You could definitely do a really fun paper here, this corrugated cardboard paper. I love things like that for fall pages. So if I know I wanted something like that and I was like, and it came to the forefront of my mind, then yeah, if it's there, then go ahead and throw that in with your other selections so that it's all close and nearby. Otherwise, like I said, we may go through that. You'll start to feel that inspiration as we get to that third step. So I'm not going to worry too much about it until we get to that third episode during this. So hopefully that's helpful. Again, just making sure that that main pattern helps guide yours. And when you're selecting that one extra one, look at it and then look at what colors. And we're talking more of the main color palette. You always have like supporting color palettes too. We're talking about like those ones that kind of really stand out. And then clearly the pumpkins. If I want to do pumpkins, I'm going to want some orange in there, right? And I was like, I don't have it. So I need to grab something that has that orange. So hopefully that's helpful. Again, that download is in the chat. This is a free guide. Share it with any scrapbookers and all scrapbookers to help them use your paper stash. And the next thing I'll express to you is that I've seen a lot of you guys be like, I'm going through all my paper and getting it all organized. And I will say that's super, great. That's a great goal, but it's very time consuming. So that's why I encourage us just to take them in bite size. This week, your homework before we get to designing phase and then the cutting and the creative flow phase, just go put one paper kit together. Follow this guide. The practice makes perfect. It's why we kind of do a rinse and repeat here, because it gives you that framework to work inside of and helps give you that energy to lift you into just embracing the joy that we get from this hobby when we actually sit down and start transforming our supplies into finished layouts, because a lot of that joy is going to come in the actual creating with the stuff, right? So just a homework, go put one together. If you're feeling really ambitious, go put two together. But don't feel like you have to, even before you can get started, you have to have all of your paper kits organized. Like I said, super like it's a worthy goal, but I wouldn't take it at the bite size, right? You said that goal the other day, like, it's such a weird saying, the elephant one.
Yeah, how do you eat an elephant?
How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
It's the weirdest thing ever, but it's the truth when it comes to things like this. And ultimately, to kind of just less overthinking, more creating. And so I encourage you to go put together one of the kits. And like I said, don't look for perfection either. Like, don't second guess every moment of the steps that you're choosing your paper. Just know that you'll evolve as you go. And that's part of creativity too. You know,
we talk about it as being like a journey.
Yeah.
We think of it as the creator's journey a lot
Right.
of the time. And practice does make perfect.
It does.
You know, like doing each step of the creative process as a scrapbooker, each step is going to contribute to you as a creator on your journey, right? Becoming a more confident creator, which is something I think in anything, whether it's scrapbooking or writing or art or music or whatever creative thing, is huge. You know, feeling confident in what we create.
Yes.
But also going from start to finish, which is something we talk about a lot. Our goal is also to try to get you to go through all of the steps, all the way to the finished page.
All the way to the finishing, transforming them into finished pages.
That
absolutely.
Will really help you on that journey as a creator.
I always feel weird when there's like this little voice over here, I didn't introduce you at the beginning, David. But if you guys have been watching, you all know him, so I didn't feel like I needed to introduce him. But just in case someone's like, "Who's that guy over there?" But that's my husband, aka Married to Scrapbooker.
Yeah.
We're gonna get his camera up and going soon, because I'm like, you should just join me. He's got to man the stuff behind anyway. So, yes, Emily, my sister. Oh my gosh, I have been trying to organize and go through paper kits that were given to me. It is crazy how much the paper did not match. So taking these apart and using this method, we'll see what happens. Like I said, and bite sizes. Even as weird as that saying is, Emily actually loves elephants, so that probably was like horror.
Yeah, it's probably traumatizing.
Yeah, it was probably traumatizing to her. What is that snow? I always laugh at that saying. It's like one of those old sayings that you're like, where did this come from? But it puts it in perspective, right? It puts it in perspective. What was the October kit? Mine isn't like that. This is not the October kit. I'm not scrapbooking with this month's club kit in these series of events. I just pick stuff from my stash. The October club kit is the Beautiful Blessings, which you guys should be getting. So they did, like I said, start coming out and shipping because we were moving our fulfillment center. But so you should get that soon, Pam. Okay. Now, of course, we will be creating with the club kits even more awesome layouts and stuff like that inside of the Kiwi Club PJ Playdate, the Picture Perfect. So we have that other series of events that also happen on top of these series of events. And so ultimately, I always look forward to that, because I slowly take the same rhythm that we're sharing with these series of 3 events, planning with purpose, then we're going to go designing, and then we're going to go to the creative state, the flow state, where we take these decisions and we transform them. And it really can be 30 minutes here, 30 minutes here, 30 minutes here. All right. Lisa, I have my printed paper sorted by color. Now I am separating each color by main and supporting patterns. It does take time, but worth the time. Yes, Lisa, that reminds me of an old YouTube video I remember doing at that same stage that you're talking about, which we should probably just pull together, because that's another great one whenever we talk about this formula.
One from like 12 years ago.
Yeah, it's a really old one. And that's pretty much what her approach is that she's doing, which is an absolute approach depending on how your current paper is set up. And that's why it's different for each person, how they may approach it. But that is super. When I had a lot of single sheets, random ones, that's how I approached it too, on that.
Amy says,
when I started scrapbooking, I would just pair 2 sheets of coordinated paper with maybe a solid. It always looked a little flat. This 3-2-1 method is so much better. Good. I'm glad, Amy.
It does add dimension.
It does add dimension.
Yeah.
And I know that pattern papers can be intimidating. So definitely, I always like to throw out there. It was actually in a conversation with another scrapbooker that I think might relate to some of you guys as well. She was telling me, I still have a hard time. Like, and I was like, oh, are you following the 3-2-1 method? And she was like, I am. And I've been doing it for a while, Susan. And I was like, oh. And so we were just chatting for a moment. And then I had said, like, okay, well, let's just start with this baseline. Like, do you like the way that the pages look? Like the ones that you see in the community or in the Kiwi Lane page websites or things? She's like, yeah, I absolutely do. It drew me in. And I said, okay, so I think it's more of a comfort thing. And this might apply to some of you guys when it comes to mixing and matching pattern papers. But if you do like the look, I promise the formula that we share with you, and we try to simplify it more and more often as much as possible, really will give you that outcome. It just might be that your comfort level, you have a desire to want to achieve that, but you're still trying to like, oh, I need the solids or these things, which again, nothing's wrong. Follow it wherever your journey leads you. But at the same time, you might want to challenge that. If you do feel a hesitation, say, oh, wait, no, but I like that formula. I probably just need to increase my comfort level related to using patterns together. And guess what? You can feel a little bit more confident because you have a 3-2-1 formula that's going to help be your rails, so to speak, to help you guide you to those decisions. Instead of like maybe in the past where you didn't have that information. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Denise, do you pull your kits apart and mix together? So Denise, this is another video we did. I will share it with you. So I always talked about evolution of my own paper stash. And so it's always about what phase of your stash that you're at. Currently, where I'm at on my paper stash is like I said, a lot of them are organized by collections or Kiwi Club kits at this point. So they're together already based off of this formula for the most part. Okay. But when I was and this is like going back a few decades here, single sheets, then this is what we did. And I'm assuming all of us as scrapbookers can relate to this. We bought in these single sheets. Ooh, this is cute. Ooh, this is cute. Oh, this is cute. I love this. And so we ended with like a lot of random single sheets, not in collections. Then collections came along, right? And paper pads. So then these club collections started to come along and the paper pads started coming along. And I'll tell you completely honesty is that what I started to notice though, is that I was still struggling with these paper pads in these collection packs. Because from a marketing point of view, a lot of their objectives, I guess I can't really say, and I'm going to say I'm not going to call it like anything out. It's just experience. But I'm trying to think how to say this. Okay. The logic of it is eye candy. They want you to purchase it. They want to give you as much, the value is like all these basically main patterns. But unfortunately, you can't layer main patterns on top of main patterns on top of main patterns. And so these paper pads and collections include like, I don't even know, more than half busy patterns, not even sometimes that I loved, but they were busy patterns. And sometimes you bought paper collections because you're like, oh, I love these 3 patterns, but they're in this collection. And the other ones, you're like, I don't really love them, right? And then double-sided came along. So that was nice because at least you can use the other side. Anyways, to answer your question, if it was a paper pad in a collection, yeah, I absolutely did take those apart because they needed the other complementary. And often what I hope that you will find is that you found them in your single sheet purchasing phase. Mm-hmm. So you start taking some of those single sheets, you taking some of those out of the paper pads and you start mixing them together to make your own customized go-to paper kit. And that's kind of what, was it Amy that was talking about? That's where she's at. She's taking all of her things apart, putting them in main pattern categories, supporting categories, and then she's going to go back through and she's going to mix and match those to build out her own paper kits based off of this formula. And then, of course, your third pile should be more of your blenders and solids because it's the combination of mains with supportings with main blenders and background or solids that you need all 3. You can't just build, you can, but it just feels overwhelming if you build a layout just based off of really busy main patterns, right? And so I think that's why we
solid ones,
or just solids, right? Like Amy was talking about, like sometimes if you're just using cardstocks and other cardstocks, but then it makes it feel flat, right? But we're drawn to these main patterns too. So we have them in our collection, but we're hesitant to use them. We feel overwhelmed. And part of that overwhelm comes because you can't just, you need the full formula to help you to build a kind of what we say a well-rounded page, but also a very satisfying page. It's very fun and fulfilling and joyful to create with those patterns and to feel confident in using your paper stash. So hopefully that helped you. What was the coupon for today? Had to walk away when you started talking about something. Oh, I was talking about, we'll throw it up there again, the Creepy Crescents sketchbook, which we're going to use throughout this month, I will say, and lots of fun ideas. This is has over, I think it has 11 sketches, and I put it on sale for the next 24 hours. So we'll put that in the chat again, that link. There is no coupon needed for it. It's already on sale, $5 off. So if you don't have this sketchbook and you're wanting some quick, wins as far as I'm telling you guys, it was so fun to look through. I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a fun idea. That's a fun idea. Just know that when you look through it, you're going to have a crazy itch to sit down to scrapbook because it's so inspiring. So just be ready for that. And hopefully if you sit down, then you can just like have a moment to scrapbook too, because that itch is going to kill you. It's killing me. Amy says, I keep a band of scraps that are still 12-inch long on one edge and go to that for supporting patterns first before cutting into a new 12 by 12 sheet. So that's a great tip too. Yep. And that's what we talked about last month in this Mix and Match Monday, where we talk basically about paper like we are now. And I talked about last month about what I actually refer to those when I cut into something, I call it a leftover, a leftover paper kit. So, and you could go from a paper kit to a leftover paper kit to scraps. And it's crazy how much you can get out of just a sheet of paper by, being efficient, but also being mindful in how you approach that paper. So, all right, guys, well, let's pull together at least one go-to paper kit using this formula. That's it. That's my challenge. That's my invite to you to give it a go, give it a try, and then come along. The next series we're going to design with the featured sets specifically because they help give us a framework to work in. We don't have less overthinking, more creating. And then we're going to take those ideas and the choices and we're going to actually transform them into a finished page and apply also similar paper formulas to our actual layering choices in the final creative phase as well. So I look forward to this month. Like I said, I was like, we're going to do fall paper because I just really excited to create some fall pages. So we'll get to that. It's going to be fun. And of course, I'm so excited. You'll see more samples, I'm sure in this month that will get us all just loving fall. Even if we're in Texas, like I saw somebody say it was super hot. Well, you can live through the fall pages that will be shared in the community. But yes. Texas will catch up soon, right? They're always a little behind when it comes to fall. But it's also a benefit, I guess, when it comes to winter. They have a good winter season for the most part. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your Monday. And if you have any other questions or follow-ups or you're catching the replay, feel free to put it in the chat. We'll do our best to lead you to the right resources or another video related to a specific question on this paper formula. But ultimately, let this main pattern help be your guide related to your other choices, specifically towards that last sheet, the number 1 in the 3-2-1 formula. All right. Take care. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye now.